Are you looking for an athletic scholarship? You're in the right place. This is the Recruit Me Athletic Scholarship Podcast, the longest running podcast on recruiting and athletic scholarships. We're here to help your family navigate the recruiting road all the way to an athletic scholarship. He's a recruiting expert and a dad of a D1 athlete and a high school athlete pursuing a scholarship. With a wealth of experience to share, here's Recruit Me CEO, Brent Hanks.
Episode 212 is an interview with Paige Tonz. You can find Paige on paigetonz.com, PAIGETONZ.com. Paige is an athlete mindset mentor, specializing in helping girls transform into young women on and off the competitive field or court. Paige grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, and excelled in both academics and softball throughout her youth, high school, and college softball careers. After getting in touch with Paige, I found out we had something in common. She played college softball at Northwestern University, the same Northwestern Wildcats my son Parker is currently playing baseball for. As a starting catcher for the Wildcats from 2011 to 2014, Paige racked up many accolades as a 2014 NFCA All-American athlete, a two-time academic Big Ten athlete, and a 2014 Big Ten Distinguished Scholar. So welcome fellow Wildcat, Paige Tonz.
Thanks. I am super excited. I don't think I've ever had such a cool introduction.
So let's get right into what you do, Paige. What is an athlete mindset mentor?
Athlete mindset mentor. So I, growing up played, club, travel, softball. Seemed like softball was like my whole life growing up. And as I played, and even into college too, I was super hard on myself. Really, really hard on myself, had really high expectations, which makes an amazing athlete because you have to push yourself. But there was also this balance and trying to figure out when to give yourself a little grace, when to give yourself some credit instead of always being so dang hard on yourself. So the confidence side of things and the mental side of the games, especially in the game of softball and baseball, which I'm sure Parker could understand, is that hitting it's a mental game. And I struggled with the hitting more so on the mental side of it for way too long. Seemed like I struggled with it a lot. And that's, of course, me being hard on myself about it. But I didn't really quite break through that until I started shifting how I thought about failure, how I thought about myself, and started using some different mental training skills to really shift the trajectory of my hitting. It was actually my senior year in college.
And sometimes it takes a little time to figure that stuff out. And most sports are failure oriented. We harp on the failures, and baseball and softball. I always said you can make the Hall of Fame in baseball and fail 7 out of 10 times, and that's hard for players to figure that out and learn to deal with failures.
I felt like I really kind of got a better grasp on it that senior year of college. All I could think of, I went through was some fun trying to figure out what I want to do after school, the good old college to real life limbo. But I was trying to figure that out. I was working actually in a real estate job. It took me a little while to figure it out, but I was looking back at my experience as an athlete and trying to figure out what was something I could give to the girls that come after me, because I actually specifically work with girls, although this stuff totally works for the guys too. But I was looking at, what I struggled with, what I learned, and I was like, oh my gosh, that senior year was so different than the rest of my years. I wish that I would have known some of the things that I figured out that senior year. So I was like, I have to teach these girls these things earlier. And really, when I tell people what I do, I'm basically a life coach for teen girls. That's pretty much what I do. They just happen to be athletes.
Well, and it sounds like you came across your mentorship kind of very similar to what way I came across being a scholarship coach. Was we went through an experience we thought, man, we need to share that with some people because we don't need people to go through the same thing that we went through.
Yeah.
And then this developed, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So other than your background and what you just explained, was there anything specific, or were there any mentorship programs out there that you kind of copied off of or got inspiration from?
Not like to a T. I will say that I was incredibly inspired. I think even from like the day I like graduated, I think I was kind of seeing what they were doing. But the Package Deal, is a group of 4 women, former collegiate softball players, came together and created this amazing ultimate experience for softball camps. And they traveled the country and did camps. And something that really stuck out for me was the way that they were empowering these young girls. I was totally like, I don't know what you call it, like girl crush on their business. So they were definitely a big inspiration. And I think, just seeing some other, entrepreneurs doing kind of what they really enjoyed and what they loved, that really helped me get to where I was. I knew I wanted to help these girls. I just didn't really know how I was going to do it at the time. And then so I just started like putting some things together, figuring out like what helped me in those moments. And I continued to put those together, worked one-on-one with girls, and then that grew. And then I ended up working with a group of girls. And that's what my program came from.
Well, that's awesome. And I've tried to tell Parker, and I've got a younger son, Sutton, that a lot of times when you go to college, you never know how college is going to direct you on who you meet, subjects that you study. And it sounds like you met some people that really inspired you to move along this path.
Yeah. Crazy to think about all of the experiences and the people that have been intertwined to where I'm at now, and how it's really like this group effort that has created the Confident Athlete, the program that I run.
Well, that's great. I mentioned your college background at Northwestern. Paige, can you add to your background in both sports and academics?
Yeah, so played club growing up, played club softball. I actually played volleyball in high school as well, and then went on to play at Northwestern. I was a catcher, and that was my spot. Kind of a fun fact was I went in, I was recruited really late, so I really had no idea. I had like no promises of playing, I wasn't like the top recruit kind of ordeal. I just remember like just working my like tail off because I wanted to play. Like growing up, I pretty much had started most of my career. Volleyball, I actually learned to sit the bench a little bit. So I really wanted to play. And so I worked my tail off and ended up getting the starting position my freshman year at catcher, which I believe that there were no other freshmen in the program up until then that started as a freshman catcher. So that was kind of like a really cool thing that happened for me in my playing career, but I also wasn't hitting well, so of course it wasn't enough for me. But yeah, and then I studied communication studies. I thought I wanted to go into events with sports. I didn't totally know what I wanted to do, so I was trying to figure that out, and with a business minor.
I know that you're a blogger, you're a YouTuber and a trainer. Tell our Recruit Me families a little bit more about your training and the services that you can provide.
Yeah, definitely. So it's funny that you shared that I'm a blogger, because I like like a real blogger would look at my writing. I don't even know if it would pass. And I definitely don't think it would be Northwestern quality writing. I really write in my own like words, like how I would speak. So it's funny to think of myself as a blogger, but yeah, so my like commitment to my audience is I like to put out a video, like a video blog with some, with a summary of it as well every single week. So I like to provide a ton of value to my audience, tips, experiences, stories, testimonials from the girls that are working in my program. So that kind of like sums up the YouTube and the weekly kind of blog that goes out. And it's all like really based around my program, which is like my little like baby. I absolutely love my program. It's group oriented. I meet with these girls once a week on Sunday nights, every single week. The group starts and ends together. And my program is actually a total of 6 months. And I do that because I really want the things that I'm teaching them, like how to practice self-talk with like affirmations, routines, pre-game routines, post-game routines, like how to get past mistakes, like little routines for that, breathing, visualization, leadership, learning how to love themselves. It kind of sounds cheesy, but it's like this self-love that is a big piece of confidence for these girls. Oh gosh, there's just like so many other things that we talk about. But yeah, so we meet every single week on Sunday nights. I don't know if anyone out there plays Mario Kart. This is how I describe it to the girls. I'm like, if you've ever played Mario Kart and you're going around and you hit one of those like booster things, like I'm like, that's what our call is like. It like gives them like this, re-energizes them, motivates them, gets them excited, because I know as an athlete, like day in, day out, you're grinding it out, you're working, you're practicing, and sometimes it gets like repetitive and sometimes you're not feeling motivated, and that call is really there to fill their tank, get them refocused and recentered and feeling confident about the work that they're doing.
And your blog and your YouTube, that's a free resource that the families and ladies can get on and see you. And were those weekly again?
Yes. Yeah. I put something out weekly.
That's great. Well, you mentioned earlier that anybody can use them. I have 2 boys, and I will certainly be shooting your information to them. But so it does look like it can help anybody. What specifically directs you or encourage do you do that young ladies can get more out of it than maybe other athletes?
I really want. I have parents with sons that will come ask me if I can work with their sons. I could totally work with them. At first, I was a little afraid to work with the boys, but I could totally work with them. They're like awesome. I just feel like I have this really unique connection, that like female to female connection with these girls, where I look like them, I talk like them. I have all different sports, girls that play different sports. But I've like walked in their shoes and I have the same emotions. Like we're just built from the same cloth. So I just have this really special connection with the girls. And that's kind of why I went down that path with only the girls. I have some amazing guys that I know that work with the guys on the mental side that I will gladly send them over. I just think that it works really well that way.
There are differences in the way I think men and women, boys and girls look at each other and how they accept maybe criticism. Yeah. And in the long run, athletes have the same drive and desire, and it's just kind of digging those out. Sometimes you have to do it in a different way for any athlete. I was looking on your website, paigetonz.com. You have these programs. I'm going to kind of list them, and then if you want to kind of talk about each one, you can. But you have private mentorships. You have the Confident Athlete Program. You have a Mind and Body Camp and Confidence Booster Workshop. So those are 4 different programs. Can you kind of give a highlight of each of those programs?
Yeah, definitely. So my signature program is the Confident Athlete Program. And that's the program that I was talking probably the most about, is that group program. Although there are some one-on-one opportunities in there. That week-to-week consistent meeting, learning, growing together. The cool thing too is that one-on-one piece I was talking about is inside of that, outside of the calls, I talk to the girls individually and as a group, and the parents. I talk to them all on an app called Boxer. It's kind of like a walkie-talkie app, but that's how I communicate with the girls outside. So it's kind of kind of like a Facebook group where we're in there, we're like supporting each other. That's where they're like keeping each other accountable. I have homework and like a focus each week. So it's cool to see the girls like turn in their homework or a screenshot of something inside there. And then it like triggers the rest of the girls to like do it too. It's like this really healthy, I wouldn't say like competition, but healthy accountability in there, but they're also like supporting each other. The cool thing about the group aspect is I'll have a girl that's really struggling with, I don't know, maybe she just like really can't get past like a mistake. She like makes that mistake and she just gets like fixated on it for the whole weekend. And it just like creates that slump the entire weekend for her. And she was going to like, if she's in my group, she's quickly going to find out like other girls are experiencing the same thing. They're getting frustrated with the same stuff. And they're like, oh, like, I am not a crazy person. Like, this is normal. Like, we're going to work through this. I'm getting tools to work on it. So that's really like my signature program, the Confident Athlete. And then the private mentorship, if that's something that like a family really wants, if they really want that one-on-one touch with the girls, I have like a VIP option in the Confident Athlete where they're getting one-on-one private mentorship as well as integrated into the group as well. So those kind of like play hand in hand. The Mind and Body Camp is kind of sitting the sidelines right now because of all the COVID stuff. I mean, we could do them here in Arizona, but I'm just really focused on my group program. But the Mind and Body Camp is, right now it's a lot of local stuff, but I go out to a team and basically run like a little practice. And I had this dream of like intertwining like a physical practice and mental practice together. So we'll kind of bounce back and forth from like working on like a physical drill or skill, and then we'll talk about like the mental side of it. And then they'll put those two things together, and that way they're learning the mental side as they're going through the physical skills. And then the last thing, my free confidence booster workshop, this is really an introduction to mental training. It's like a really good like first taste to see how I can help a team or girls grow their confidence and show them that like confidence, like you can feel real, true, authentic confidence through working on the mental side of the game. So I actually talk about visualization, some self-talk in there. I share with them with like a little bit about my journey with it and how it's helped me, how it's helped the girls in the program currently. And then we open it up for Q&A.
Do you have anything for middle-aged men and their golf game?
Yeah, that's great. I actually just got done talking with this amazing woman. Her name is Nikki B. She does a lot of media coverage for professional golf. I was talking to her, I was like, it's crazy to me that I don't have any female golfers. I know you need some help with your golf game. But I'm like, it's crazy to me because I would think that golf is probably like highest on the list when it comes to like, you have to be mentally strong for golf.
Yes, that's why I don't play for money. So, well, tell everybody again what your website is and how to contact you, Paige.
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is paigetonz.com. So my first name, Paige, and then my last name is TON as in nickel, Z as in zebra.com. And I'm pretty sure I'm like the only Paige Tonz in the world. So it makes it really easy to find me. So if you were to Google my name, you'd probably find my website and some other resources along there. Maybe even like old Northwestern YouTube softball. And then I also have a free visualization practice package. So this is like, if you go on my site, you can definitely like go and download it. And what it is, it's a PDF and it has a video of what the benefits of visualization is, how to visualize. And then I actually have 4 guided visualization audios that they can listen to, so they can start practicing visualization right there. So that's definitely like a favorite, is to like, it's a great like little piece to start working on, is that visualization. So that you can definitely go download that. That's been really helpful for a lot of girls. The girls in my program love it. They liked it so much they asked me for more guided visualization audios. So
Paige, one last thing. Can you give one piece of advice or something that you learned during your recruiting process from high school to college that our Recruit Me families could take away?
The recruiting process felt a little scary, and like, you're like, this is your whole like goal. Like, this is everything that you work for, and it can be like really scary and overwhelming and a lot of pressure, because that's the one thing that you're going for. And if it doesn't happen, it kind of feels like the world might fall apart, which is why I do this, so that we can create confidence in that recruiting process as well. So I think that the one piece of advice would be, go to a school where the culture is a really good fit. Like, it feels good. Like, the coaches feel like a really good fit. Like, you connect with the coaches, and even talking to those current players or even former players. And I know that kind of sounds scary for a lot of kids that age, to actually like reach out and talk to those people, because you're not really going to know what it's really like unless you talk to those players, just to get a really good idea of where you're going to be for the next 4 years. And also like, just have fun. Like, when you have fun and work hard, like those things are going to fall into place. The right school, the right fit is going to find you somehow.
And kind of a follow-up on your recruiting, did you reach out to schools, or did you wait for schools to find you?
Definitely be proactive. Like, if you have certain schools, like top, whatever list of schools that you really want to pursue, definitely be communicating, emailing, contacting those coaches. And some of the best advice I've gotten, I actually have a really great relationship with a woman who helps female softball players get recruited in that recruiting process. And the best advice I ever heard was to create a relationship with that coach even before you go to like any camps with them.
That's awesome advice, and I think that we may have to try to do another podcast down the road just to get all the information in that you have for us, and we'll talk maybe even more about your recruiting. So, Paige, thank you very much for your information, and I will have your contact information on my episode notes.
So contact Paige or contact me at Brent@recruitme.com, and you can ask any questions about this episode.